You are listening to Bedtime Dreamy Tales. Subscribe to our channel for new story. Story title, The Cat and the Mouse in Partnership. In a quaint little village, nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, there lived a sleek and cunning cat named Whiskers, and a timid but clever mouse named Nutmeg. Their homes were vastly different. Whiskers resided in a cozy, warm barn filled with hay, while Nutmeg lived in a snug little hole in the wall of the same barn. Despite their natural instincts, they had formed an unusual friendship. Whiskers often boasted of her great love and friendship for Nutmeg. "Dear Nutmeg, you are my closest friend, and I care for you deeply. We should live together and share our resources. Winter is coming, and we must prepare, or we will suffer from hunger." Nutmeg, though hesitant, was touched by Whiskers' words and agreed to join forces. "You're right, Whiskers. Together, we can face the harsh winter. But where should we store our provisions? We need a safe place." After much deliberation, Whiskers proposed, "The church is the safest place. No one will think of looking there. We can hide a little pot of fat in a corner and save it for when we need it most." Nutmeg agreed, and they carefully placed their little pot of fat in a hidden nook in the church. They promised each other not to touch it until winter arrived. As the days passed, they prepared for winter in other ways. Nutmeg gathered seeds, nuts, and grains, while Whiskers caught mice and birds, storing their bounty in the barn. They worked together, side by side, and their bond seemed to grow stronger. Whiskers often entertained Nutmeg with tales of her adventures and exploits, while Nutmeg shared stories of her family and their long history in the village. As autumn deepened, Whiskers began to crave the fat they had stored. One sunny morning, she approached Nutmeg with a fabricated story. "Nutmeg, I have wonderful news. My cousin has a little son, white with brown spots, and she has asked me to be the godmother. I must attend the christening today. Can you manage the house alone?" Nutmeg, trusting her friend, replied, "Of course, Whiskers. Go and enjoy the christening. Think of me when you eat something delicious." Whiskers, with a sly grin, set off for the church. She sneaked into the building, slunk to the little pot of fat, and licked the top off. Satisfied, she spent the rest of the day basking in the sun, relishing her deceit. She wandered through the village, exploring the rooftops and spying on the villagers as they went about their day. She even caught a plump bird, which she devoured in a hidden alley. That evening, Whiskers returned home. "How was the christening?" asked Nutmeg. "It went very well," answered Whiskers. "What was the child's name?" Nutmeg inquired. "Top Off," Whiskers replied casually. "Top Off, what a peculiar name. Is it a family name?" Nutmeg wondered. Whiskers simply shrugged, deflecting the question. Not long after, Whiskers felt another longing for the fat. She concocted another story. "Nutmeg, I must ask you to look after the house alone again. My cousin's child, who has a white ring around its neck, needs a godmother, and I cannot refuse." Nutmeg, ever the trusting friend, agreed once more. Whiskers hurried to the church, where she devoured half of the pot of fat. "Nothing tastes better than what one eats by oneself," she thought, thoroughly pleased with her cunning. While Whiskers was away, Nutmeg decided to clean the house from top to bottom. She dusted every corner, organized their supplies, and even found a few extra seeds to add to their winter stash. She hummed a cheerful tune as she worked, feeling content in their partnership. When Whiskers returned home, Nutmeg asked, "What was the child called this time?" "Half Gone," Whiskers answered. "Half Gone? That's even stranger than the last name." "I've never heard such names before," Nutmeg mused, but she let it go. As winter drew nearer, Whiskers' craving became unbearable. She approached Nutmeg again. "Nutmeg, I must stand godmother once more. This time, the child is completely black with white paws. Such an event only happens once every 2 years." Nutmeg was beginning to feel uneasy about these frequent christenings, but didn't voice her concerns. She agreed once more, and Whiskers made her way to the church. This time, she finished off the pot of fat entirely. "When it's all gone, one can be at rest," she thought, satisfied. While Whiskers was away, Nutmeg had a visit from her cousin, Chestnut. Chestnut was a wise and experienced mouse who had traveled far and wide. Nutmeg shared her concerns with Chestnut about Whiskers' frequent absences and the strange names of the godchildren. "Nutmeg, you must be cautious. Cats are known for their cunning ways. Keep a close eye on Whiskers," Chestnut advised. When Whiskers returned, Nutmeg asked about the third child's name. Clean gone, said Whiskers, a bit too quickly. Clean gone? That doesn't sound right at all, Nutmeg said, shaking her head. As the first snowflakes of winter began to fall, Nutmeg remembered their hidden pot of fat. Whiskers, it's time to use our stored provisions. Yes, indeed, Whiskers replied, though she knew what awaited them. They ventured to the church, only to find the pot empty. Nutmeg's eyes filled with tears. Whiskers, you deceived me. You ate all the fat while pretending to be a godmother. Whiskers, unable to contain her irritation, hissed, Quiet, or I will eat you too. Clean gone, Nutmeg whispered, and in an instant, Whiskers pounced, swallowing her friend whole. The village learned a harsh lesson about trust and betrayal. The tale of Whiskers and Nutmeg spread far and wide, becoming a cautionary story for all. The other animals in the village began to be more wary of Whiskers, and she found herself increasingly isolated. Whiskers, now lonely and guilt-ridden, realized the consequences of her actions. She missed Nutmeg's companionship and the warmth of their friendship. Winter was cold and unforgiving, and Whiskers had no one to share it with. She often thought of Nutmeg and regretted her deceit. The villagers, too, learned to be more cautious and discerning in their relationships. They formed tighter-knit communities, looking out for one another and sharing their resources more openly. The story of Whiskers and Nutmeg became a symbol of the importance of honesty and the value of true friendship. And so, the village moved forward, wiser and more united, always remembering the tale of the cat and the mouse in partnership and the harsh lessons it taught them about the way of the world. If you like this story, please give this video a like. For more stories, go to bedtimedreamytales.com. See you in the next story.